All right, fans of music, welcome back. Harmless Dave here talking, real music. Well, the basis is very real music in real time for real people just like you and just like me. So, despite not wanting to talk about Paul Stanley or Gene Simmons anymore, and trying to avoid this with every fiber of my being, I have decided to do a video about this because it needs to be done. First question, why is Paul Stanley doing soul music? Why is he doing soul music? Number one, for him it might be easier to sing depending on what key it's sung in. I understand that he has a real love and a real passion for soul music. Kiss even went through a little disco phase back in the late 70s when it was a very profitable endeavor to release remixes and songs that were driven by a disco-ish beat. Most of Kiss Nation, however, is not interested in Kiss doing soul music, or for that matter, Paul Stanley doing soul music. And yes, I did listen to it. And I am not all that impressed with it. I am, I guess impressed with the song selection, because Ooh Child is probably one of my favorite all-time soul tracks, and nobody beats the five Stair Steps, who did it originally. Just mind-blowingly good, and fits perfectly in the 1970s when it was recorded, but what a brilliant song, an optimistic song as well. And we got Paul Stanley out there singing it. While Paul Stanley is best known as the co-founder and frontman of the hard-rocking band Kiss, he's also an avid fan of classic R&B. Now, there are guys who can actually do the classic R&B, who had their own sound, but who could also kind of go and do classic soul and R&B. I can name a few. There are many, many more. Most rock stars are jealous of R&B stars because of all of the melody, because of all of the singing, all of the funky licks that they create on guitar and bass, and all the things, the backbeat, the drums, everything about R&B is the ultimate in cool. And oftentimes rock stars would take R&B songs and make them, more rocking and so forth, take them as their own, and fool a lot of people who are listening to rock stations thinking, hey, that's a cool new song. And it's like some 60s soul tune that the audience had never heard before because that wasn't their genre. A few names that come to mind that finished slightly ahead of Paul Stanley. I don't know. Guys like Paul Carrack, guy by the name of Paul, who can sing the phone book, and if he wants to sing soul, it's okay by me. Another guy named Paul, again, Paul Young, the British singer, who kind of made his career on redoing songs from the catalog and putting them out there and kind of putting his stamp on them. But they had something that Paul Stanley doesn't have. They had vocal skills to do it. Let's just be honest. Number one, Paul's admitted that he doesn't sing like he used to. And he's referring to the catalog of Kiss music that, quite honestly, can be a little bit challenging to sing. But instead of, say, dialing it back, going acoustic, dropping the keys and so forth, he's embarked upon an R&B sort of tangent. And this sounds good, but to me there's some... Michael McDonald, there's another guy, just popped into my brain, who can sing the R&B phone book, okay? And I can go down the list. They'll keep coming as I sit here and think about it more. So I need to get on with this video. Several years ago, the Rock and Roll Hall of Famer and best-selling author pursued his passion and formed Soul Station, a 15-piece ensemble of today's, or some of today's, best musicians and vocalists. Yes, he doesn't sing all the time, but he is fronting the band who performed the biggest soul hits of the 60s and 70s. Now, as the group is readying to release their debut album, Now and Then, they've shared an uplifting video for their cover of Ooh Child. Now, here's the thing. The song is amazing. The original version is amazing. I think the only purpose this serves is education at this stage. Because maybe somebody will go and look up and listen to the original song. Because these are not as good as the original. No matter how you tell me the technology is better, the recording. See, I like the antiquated technology, the way these were recorded originally. So long as they're in stereo. Once they get into mono, I'm not quite as down with it, but I can still respect it. And you'd be better off trying to do some kind of digital enhancement and make it sound like stereo without, adding instruments that weren't in the original. Anyway, penned by songwriter Stan Vincent, Ooh Child was originally made famous by the Five Stairsteps, who scored a top 10 hit with the tune in the summer of 1970. The popular song has since been covered by the likes of Nina Simone, Kamasi Washington, and Hall & Oates. Okay, that Hall & Oates, they can do soul music. The Philly Boys, they had that passion from the get-go. Daryl Hall, again, a guy who can sing the phone book in the R&B section of the store. And, John Oates, no slouch, but certainly, plays a little bit of a second fiddle and doesn't sing lead too much in the band. But it was always like an epic event when John Oates sang a track. You're like, hey, that's Oates. That's cool. I don't know. I don't see the purpose of this. I see this as very self-indulgent. A guy with lots of money. He wants to sing soul. He doesn't have a soul voice. He's not equipped vocally to do it. It's nice that he allows some of these other musicians out there to sing lead and to kind of take this where it's going to go. I would highly recommend going back and listening to the original versions of these songs. And honestly, it would be cool to hear some decent new soul music, and I have a solution for you. If you haven't heard of the Teskey Brothers, please check them out. TheTeskeyBrothers.com. They are a rare musical gem honoring that old school Motown sound and working it into something of their very own. The band have received widespread acclaim for their gorgeous debut album called Half Mile Harvest. Please check the Teskey Brothers out. I don't think you'll be disappointed. It's Teskey Brothers.com. Not the Doobie Brothers, although they're great too. The Teskey Brothers, I believe they're from Australia. And this is a band that has gotten zero airplay here in the United States of America because soul music, the old school soul, is no longer in fashion. And I guess the one positive from the whole Soul Station thing is that maybe people will start to investigate what music used to sound like and revisit some of those legendary artists. And that might be the only good takeaway from this. But no offense to Paul Stanley, and I hate to be Simon Cowell here, but Paul Stanley singing soul music, it's not the first thing I want to hear. That's all I'm saying. All right. Done with this video. Sorry to let you Paul Stanley fans down. And I did listen to it. And I think there are maybe a few Paul Stanley vocal overdubs on this as well. It's not that... and he doesn't embarrass anybody. But he's just not the guy to pull this off. I mean, would I want Brian Johnson from AC/DC singing soul music? No. No, and I would tell him, don't do soul music. It might be funny, it might be interesting. There might be kind of a weird factor to it. People might say, oh, that's cool. But I wouldn't want that. It's not necessary, it's not needed. All right, so I'm done with this video. And again, sorry to beat on Paul Stanley, but somebody had to tell the truth about this. I'm sure he's still going to get, television show appearances, and he's got friends in high places, and he's politically connected, certainly, in more ways than one, and us little people just have to kind of go with the flow and say, yeah, Soul Station, that's a great idea.